Esther, my ST170 powered Mk1 Escort, and the plan today is to put her fully back together and hopefully take her for a spin around the block. After plugging in the coil pack, then fitting a cam sensor and plugging that in, I realised that I had an issue. But I don't actually have enough parts. She is now looking absolutely mint in the boot of Roger the Plastic Fiesta. Let me give you a bit of an update on Maud. They admitted that it was a bit iffy, that the cut on the snapped half shaft was really clean. There's all cracks in this battery's dead. Does some magic, which then puts power back into the battery. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes, and today you join me from the cockpit of my beautiful girlfriend Kat's plastic Fiesta that she likes to call Roger. Now I'm currently on the way to my garage where I store Esther, my ST170 powered Mk1 Escort, and the plan today is to put her fully back together and hopefully take her for a spin around the block. Now I do want to send a massive thanks out to everyone who gave me your advice about Esther's lowering blocks, about how to stack those and, you know, get rid of the saddle pads and the bracket and stuff. Also, massive thanks to everyone with your suggestions of utilising that new exhaust mount on the back box, and massive thanks to everyone in general for your positivity about the fact that I am getting Esther back on the channel and back on the road. I know that for most of you out there, she's your favourite out of my cars. She's definitely my favourite, even though, yeah, there's quite a bit of hate for her in the scene as well with regards to the modifications that I've carried out to her. Now, one thing I forgot to mention in the last video with regards to the damage on Esther's boot floor, which I'm pretty certain happened when we were trying to get it onto the truck to take it to Gavin Pink's place to get the repair done. The truck wasn't ideal, you know, it wasn't a flatbed, and we struggled getting it up using bits of wood for ramps and stuff, and I think, yeah, one of the bits of wood must have flicked up and hit the boot floor. There was definitely a couple of times where the wood sort of got shot out behind where Esther's wheels were spinning. But yeah, one thing I forgot to mention in the last video is that Gavin Pink actually offered to repair that section for absolutely free. He said to me that if I took it to him during the winter just gone, that he would do it for me. But yeah, I've decided that I'm not really bothered about it. From inside the boot you can't see it because of the tank stand is there. I was able to press it down slightly in the last video. With the spare wheel in there, you literally can't see it at all. So yeah, it's not something that bothers me. And now that I've put some blue paint on it from underneath after grinding away the, you know, flaky paint and any little bits of surface rust that was there, it shouldn't rust in a hurry. So yeah, I'm just happy to leave it as it is. I can't be bothered to, you know, strip all the boot out and stuff just to repair one little dent that you can't see. Anyway, I'm going to get myself through this traffic, get to the garage, pull Esther out of her garage, and then we can crack on with getting her engine fully back together. First to go on was the coil pack, which is mounted on a bracket underneath the inlet manifold. Then I disconnected the battery, which I should have done first, really. Then I fitted the alternator, but just loosely at this stage, before fitting the plastic trim that goes behind the crank pulley, followed by the crank pulley itself. I put thread lock on the crank pulley bolt and decided to torque it up straight away so that I didn't forget. So I put the handbrake on, put the car in reverse, and then torqued up the bolt to 85 foot-pounds. Next to go on was this cover, which is actually part of the engine mount when these engines are in the focus. Then I fitted the alternator idler pulley, which is attached with this countersunk bolt and one of the bolts that holds the cover on. And then I tightened all the other bolts for that cover. On went the water pump pulley after this, and then I was able to fit the alternator belt and tension it up. After screwing the coolant temperature sensor into the thermostat housing and plugging that in, I fitted the thermostat and then the water rail, which is quite awkward and requires this mad stack on my ratchet. Next I slid on the top radiator hose, and then after I'd attached the dipstick to the engine, I was then able to do up the Jubilees. Then I plugged in the radiator fan and hooked up the block breather pipe. Around the other side of the engine, I hooked up the bottom radiator hose and the other breather, which goes to the rocker cover, and then removed the engine eye before wiring up the alternator. I then attached the throttle cable, but left the nut loose at this stage, and then on went the trumpets for the throttle bodies, which I lined up perfectly before tightening up. After plugging in the coil pack, then fitting a cam sensor and plugging that in, I realised that I had an issue. It's not the end of the world, but I don't actually have enough parts to get her fully back together. She is now very close to being put back together, but there were some parts that I took off of this engine when I went to help my friend Jay with his ST170 powered Capri a while ago. Now, I didn't put that in a video. He was in a bit of a pinch, and yeah, we just needed to get the Capri running. So when I went down to see him, I took things like the VVT solenoid, plugs and leads, cam sensor and all that sort of stuff, and now I don't have them bits to fit to Esther's engine. I did manage to find a cam sensor in my garage. I have actually found a set of spark plugs, although I've got a big box of genuine Ford spark plugs at home, so I'm going to use them rather than using these ones that I found today. I did also find some HT leads, but you know, they're old spare ones, and yeah, whatever happens, I don't have a VVT solenoid here. I also don't have a rad cap because I took the fancy rad cap, I can't remember the brand, the one with the lever on it. I took this off to fit to Maud, although when Lee Booth gave me the radiator for Maud, that had one of those fancy caps on it. So yeah, I've got a cap at home to put on Esther as well. Now, one thing I did just do off camera is tidy up this alternator wiring a bit. I just put this corrugated sleeving stuff on it, and I was looking at the throttle cable adjustment. I think it's roughly there, and to be honest, I do have my tuning laptop with me, and when I went to see Jay, I took my ECU with me as well, because we was trying to see if his problem was his ECU, and he's got an ME221 ECU as well. And yeah, we was messing about with switching maps from one ECU to the other. So I need to double check that I've got the right map on Esther's ECU now. But seeing as I've had the throttle cable off and I'm going to have to recalibrate the throttle position sensor, I don't think there's any point doing that now either. I may as well, you know, do all of the laptop stuff when Esther is fully back together. So yeah, that is as far as I've got today. I think I might actually give her a quick wash just because I'm round here now and it isn't dark yet and it hasn't started raining yet, which I'm not going to film, but I'm going to continue this video tomorrow. But for you, it'll only be a couple of seconds, so I'll see you then. Hello, into a new day. In fact, it's 2 days since the last clip. I was going to come round here yesterday, but it started raining. Now, after I stopped filming 2 days ago, I gave Esther a wash as planned, and she's looking a lot better. Still need to do the wheels, still need to hoover out the inside. But yeah, in general, on the outside, she is now looking absolutely mint. And I think today I do have enough parts to get her fully back together and hopefully take her for a spin. In the boot of Roger the Plastic Fiesta, I've got the coil pack and HT leads that I took off of Esther when I took some bits to Jay's to help him out. I'm hoping that the coil pack that I fitted the other day to Esther works. It is a genuine Ford one, just like this is. I will be using these HT leads though. As for the spark plugs, I only found these 4 in the garage at home. So my big box of genuine Ford spark plugs are in one of these garages around here. I'm sure they'll show up at some point, but yeah, I had these 4 in my garage at home as spare ones for Maud, so I'm going to throw them in today. I also grabbed one of my Stant radiator caps from Maud's garage, and in this bag I've got a VVT solenoid, a cam sensor and a crank sensor. And the crank sensor was actually something I didn't realise that wasn't fitted to Esther's engine the other day. So yeah, going to get these parts fitted to Esther's engine in a minute, but first let me give you a bit of an update on Maud, because today I spoke to the company that supplied the uprated half shafts. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that recently one of those half shafts snapped, and yeah, they hadn't got back to me after I sent them the pictures over a week week ago. When I spoke to them today, they admitted that it was a bit iffy, that the cut on the snapped half shaft was really clean, and yeah, basically they've agreed to send me one replacement half shaft, and they've said that I'm going to need to take the bearing off of the other one. I don't want to argue too much, but I did say to them, listen, I'd rather you send me 2 spare half shafts, because if the other one is weak and that breaks, in the near future, I'm going to be back to square one. And I also explained to them that when I snapped the non-RS forward half shaft, which made me buy the uprated ones in the first place, it actually took out the diff, and that hasn't happened this time. So I sort of stressed that, yeah, I don't want that to happen in the future, because then it ended up costing me 500-600 quid, because I had to replace part of the casing of the diff, and obviously all the bearings and the clutch pack and labour. So he said he's going to go away and speak to the powers that be, and yeah, I'm hoping to at least get a pair of shafts. Now, if I have to transfer the bearings over, and if they're not going to send me the new hubs, because they're 2-piece shafts, the hub is separate, I can swallow that. I can take it down to Inky's Autos or something and pay them to transfer those bits over. But yeah, I do really want 2 brand new shafts. As I've already mentioned, I'm not going to be able to trust them as much as I would like as it is, even if they do send me 2 brand new shafts. So yeah, I'll keep you updated with regards to whether I end up getting 1 or 2 new uprated half shafts. But with that all being said, let's get these parts fitted to Esther. I haven't fitted the rad cap yet, because I've still got to put coolant in, and I have to admit I have already started her up, and she was running on 2 cylinders. So I switched the core pack over, because of course this one that I fitted the other day wasn't the one that was fitted to Esther before. But now I have fitted the one that was fitted before, and it's running on all 4 cylinders. And if we look at the back of this core pack that I did fit the other day, there's all cracks in this, I don't know what this stuff is, this gel stuff that they put in. I think this is to protect the electronic stuff inside from heat. And I've had it before, when these fail, you get cracks in this stuff. In fact, I've had one fail before, and there was just like a hole in the side of it, and all this plastic started melting. So that'll be going in the bin. But as I say, she does run. I just want to plug her into the laptop to make sure that she's got the correct map loaded into the ECU, and calibrate the throttle position sensor, and then it's just a case of putting coolant in the rad. So with my laptop plugged into the ME221 ECU, don't forget, if you're looking for an ECU, I actually sell motorsport electronics ECUs on my website, although you'll be getting the newer version of the ME221. This is the old Gen 1. Anyway, with it plugged into my laptop, I have turned the fuel pump off just to conserve battery power. Yeah, I can flick the ignition on now, and it's instantly connected. So I'm just going to go up to File and then choose Load Calibration File. And the latest map that Chris put on this new engine is this one here. So I'll just click that and then go down to Open. And then it's going to ask me basically what I want to load in from that map. But I'm just going to hit Load Calibration, because I want to load everything. Then it gives you a warning, letting you know that this is going to send data to your ECU and erase the data that's already on it. So I'm going to push yes. And that is now loading into the ECU. Now, as I mentioned the other day, we was messing around with my ECU and Jay's ECU when we were fiddling around with his Capri. It actually turned out to be a vacuum line that was attached to his fuel pressure regulator, which shouldn't be. Like my fuel pressure regulator, there's a nipple on it that needs to go to atmosphere. I think you hook that up to something when you're running a turbo to increase the fuel pressure as the boost increases. I think. I'm not knowledgeable about turbos, but with an NA setup like this, it's supposed to go to atmosphere. He also had some air leaks on his throttle bodies, so yeah, it wasn't anything to do with ECU anyway. But yeah, we was messing around with settings, and I think the map in this ECU wasn't as it was when it was last fitted to this car. So yeah, that's why I've just loaded the map again. It says calibration loaded successfully. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to calibrate the throttle position sensor. You'll see that it's 0, so if I push it all the way down, it goes to 95.3, so it's almost calibrated, but not quite. So we just go over to ECU, and then down to throttle calibration, and then it's going to ask me to close the throttle, as in keep your foot off it, and push next. So I'll do that. Then it tells you to open the throttle, so you put your foot all the way down, and then push next again, and then push finish to finish the calibration, and that is the throttle position sensor calibrated. So now it's 0, and then when I put my foot all the way down, it goes to 100. Turn this off for the minute, and now we'll throw some coolant in the rad. Alright, she'll have to make do with water. I've got no coolant here. It does give me an opportunity to give the rad a flush before I do put coolant in, so not the end of the world. Battery's dead. Let's get the auto whip jump pack thing. Still don't quite understand how this thing works, but it charges the unit up from the dead battery and then does some magic which then puts power back into the battery and allows you to start the engine, although you only get a few seconds. Right, so this thing's just gone bing, which means it's at 100%, actually says it on the screen. Press this red button, and then after the long beep, you can fire it up. She's alive. All right, so just chuck some fuel in the old girl, and it's now raining, and looks like rush hour has started. I don't know what the time is. I lose track this time of year because it stays light so late. But yeah, not great driving her in the rain when I've just washed the outside and the underneath. It is what it is. They're to be driven at the end of the day. Now I do need to try and refrain from ragging this thing everywhere because I need to get it mapped to suit the new cylinder head, of course. And I'm guessing that if anything, it'll be running lean because the ported cylinder head will let more air in. I'm guessing. Who knows? I am going to get in touch with Chris Todd, well, as soon as I get back to the garage, to be honest. But yeah, I'm going to go for a little rip. She's wet now anyway. Yeah, it actually doesn't feel bad at all. From what I remember, it feels a bit down on power, but I have now got the exhaust cam vernier set back to 0. So potentially it could be sort of 5-10 horsepower down anyway. And, you know, with, in theory, the map not being perfect now because of the ported cylinder head. So, yeah, I mean, it still feels quicker than moored, but the shell is so light, the wheels are so light. It is a completely different car than moored, but it feels good to be driving her again. Can't wait to get her tuned though, man. Yeah, this rain ain't getting any better. In fact, it's getting worse. Dear oh dear. Oh, this rain is so bad. I'm gonna have to cut this drive short. Now, I was actually hoping to give this thing an oil change before I drive it, because I haven't changed the oil since we fitted the new cylinder head, but I realised I didn't have an oil filter in stock, so I've ordered some more of those, and genuine Ford oil filters for Zetec's and ST170s, as well as other engines, are available on my website. So yeah, go and check them out if you're looking to do an oil change on your car soon. I always like to use genuine Ford oil filters. But yeah, so the oil change will have to wait. But yeah, I've still got bits that I want to do on this. There's one really cool part that I want to fit to the interior. If you're a patron, you've already seen it. And whilst I do that, I'm probably going to do a couple of other things in the interior, and I might have to actually do some boring rewiring. But yeah, I'm not sure when I'm going to dive into that job, because it is going to, you know, put the car off the road. Definitely going to be taking this thing to the Classic Ford show, or that is the plan anyway. Probably not going to be getting Kat to drive my dad's Mark III like we did last year. In fact, I've got a bit of an announcement to make regarding my dad's Mark III. So maybe I'll let you know about that in the next video. But yeah, right now I need to get this thing back to the garage. Now, I know not loads has happened in this video, but I'm sure loads of you will be happy like I am to see this thing back on the road. And yeah, I really want to get this video out tomorrow. I've been trying to get the videos out more regularly lately, just trying to really make a go of this YouTube thing. So unfortunately, I'm going to end this one here. But if you did think it was any good, as always, do give it a thumbs up and a share. If you didn't, feel free to give it a thumbs down. If you're new, do consider subscribing to the channel to be kept up to date with all future uploads. Feel free to follow me on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. Do check out my website for merchandise and parts. Massive thanks to all my patrons for your ongoing support. All the links, as usual, for all of that will be in the description, along with my email address for anyone who wants to contact me. But other than that, until next time, thanks for watching.